Fantasy anime isn't just elves and dragons anymore. We're diving into 10 criminally underrated gems that got buried by seasonal hype. From battlefields to brutal survival, these shows deserved way more love than they got. Kicking off with number 10, Grimgar, Ashes and Illusions. Right out the gate, Grimgar hits different because it's basically what if Isekai actually sucked. No overpowered protagonist, no cute goddess handing out cheat skills, just a bunch of confused kids waking up in a fantasy world with zero memories and even less survival instinct. They struggle to kill one goblin. One. Most Isekai protagonists are out here soloing demon lords by episode 3, but these guys are celebrating because they managed to not die fighting trash mobs. The watercolour backgrounds are gorgeous, almost Studio Ghibli-like, which makes the brutal reality hit harder. You're watching this beautiful world while the characters are literally counting copper coins to afford dinner. The pacing is slow and some people clowned on it for that, but honestly, that's the point. It's deliberately uncomfortable. When Minato dies, it genuinely hurts because you've spent episodes watching this group barely function. It's not perfect, the insert songs can feel heavy-handed, but Grimgar respects the struggle in a way most fantasy anime speedrun past. It's melancholic, it's real, and it got slept on hard because people wanted power fantasies, not PTSD simulators with swords. Sliding to number 9, Legend of Lemnir. Okay, buckle up because we're travelling back 1989 for pure, unfiltered, ridiculous OVA energy. Legend of Lemnir is 50 minutes of a silver-haired warrior woman in the most impractical armour you've ever seen, fighting a generic Dark Lord. And you know what? It's glorious trash. This is peak "we animated this on cigarettes and ambition" era. The plot is paper thin. Lemnir's village gets destroyed, she wants revenge, demons bad, sword goes brrrr. But the animation has that gritty, hand-drawn charm that modern anime can't replicate. Every sword slash feels weighty. Every spell effect looks like someone actually painted each frame while listening to heavy metal. Is it dated? Absolutely. The dialogue is stilted, the villains are cartoon-level evil, and the fan service is cartoonishly gratuitous even by 80s standards. But there's something endearing about how earnestly it commits to being a sword and sorcery pulp adventure. No subversion, no deep themes, just a warrior woman carving through monsters with a blade that's definitely overcompensating for something. It's forgotten because it's aggressively average, but if you're into retro anime aesthetics and don't mind checking your brain at the door, Lemnir is a fun time capsule. Landing on number 8, Eternal Felena, another OVA deep cut. Eternal Felena is legitimately wild and nobody talks about it. The premise, a girl raised as a boy to fight as a gladiator, discovers she's actually a princess from space. Yes, space. It's like someone mashed Star Wars with ancient Rome and threw in some gender identity exploration before that was remotely common in anime. Felena is a surprisingly solid protagonist, tough, conflicted, and dealing with some heavy stuff about identity and destiny. The gladiator battles are brutal and well choreographed, especially for a 1992 production. Then it pivots into this sci-fi political drama about warring planets, and you're left wondering if you accidentally switched shows. The problem? It's only 2 episodes. The OVA ends right when the story should be kicking into high gear. It was supposed to adapt a whole game series but got axed, leaving us with this incomplete but fascinating fragment. The animation quality is inconsistent. Some scenes look incredible, others look like they ran out of budget halfway through a fight scene. Still, Eternal Felena tried something genuinely different. Gender themes, sci-fi fantasy fusion, and a female protagonist who wasn't just fan service bait. It deserved a full series, but the anime gods are cruel. Looking at number 7, Izetta, The Last Witch. Izetta starts with an absolute banger premise. What if World War II, but with witches, specifically, one witch defending a small European nation from not Nazi Germany, using a freaking anti-tank rifle as a flying broomstick. That visual alone should have made this show a phenomenon. The first half is legitimately great. Izetta and Princess Fine's relationship carries real emotional weight. There's genuine chemistry, whether you read it as romantic or just deeply devoted friendship. The alternate history world building is surprisingly detailed, and watching Izetta dogfight military aircraft on Magic Rifle is peak. Why isn't this more popular content? Then the second half happens and things get messy. The plot introduces another witch, and suddenly we're speedrunning through twists that needed more breathing room. The finale feels rushed, and some strategic decisions make zero sense even by anime logic. It's like they had 12 episodes of story but only got to use 10 properly. But trust me, number 3, it'll mess with your head in the best way possible. Despite stumbling at the finish line, Izetta deserved better. Historical fantasy anime are rare, and this one had style, heart, and magical warfare that actually felt tactical. It just needed tighter writing in the back half. Checking out number 6, Green Legend Ran. This 1992 OVA series is basically Dune meets Final Fantasy meets environmentalism, and it's way better than it has any right to be. Earth is a desert wasteland controlled by alien overlords called the Rhodoists, who've turned water into the ultimate commodity. Our boy Ran wants revenge against these aliens for murdering his mother, and he joins up with a resistance group. The world design is genuinely cool. Massive monolithic structures, water as currency, a society built on scarcity. It tackles themes about environmental collapse and religious control, decades before those became trendy anime topics. The animation has that early 90s OVA polish, where you can tell they actually had budget for the action sequences. Ran himself is a bit generic, angry revenge protagonist is pretty standard, but the supporting cast picks up the slack. The mystery around the Rhodoists and Earth's true history keeps things engaging across all 3 episodes. Why is it forgotten? Timing. It released in an era drowning in sci-fi OVAs, and without mainstream distribution, it just faded. But if you're into desert punk aesthetics, ecological storytelling, or just want something that feels like classic Final Fantasy, Green Legend Ran is absolutely worth digging up. It's surprisingly complete for an OVA too. Actually tells a full story instead of just stopping. Moving to number 5, Rocker, Braves of the Six Flowers. Now we're talking. Rocker has one of the most engaging first episodes in recent fantasy anime. The premise is simple. 6 heroes are chosen by the goddess to fight the demon god. They all gather at the meeting point and discover there are 7 of them. One person is a traitor, and they're trapped in a magical barrier until they figure out who. It's fantasy meets murder mystery meets paranoia thriller, and for most of its runtime, it's incredible. Adlet is a fantastic protagonist, loudly proclaiming himself the strongest man in the world while actually being the weakest of the group combat-wise, but making up for it with traps and tactics. The locked room mystery is genuinely compelling, with solid clues and misdirection. The character designs are unique, the action is dynamic, and watching these heroes turn on each other while a literal demon invasion waits outside is peak tension. Flamey is best girl, don't at me. The problem? It ends on a massive cliffhanger with no season 2 in sight. We're 8 years out and nothing. The light novels continued the story, but anime-only viewers got left in the worst possible spot. Still, what we got is strong enough to recommend, despite the incomplete adaptation frustration. Arriving at number 4, The Tower of Druaga. This is a love letter to classic RPG gaming, and it's criminally underwatched. Based on an 80s arcade game, Druaga follows a climbing expedition up a massive tower filled with monsters, traps, and treasures. It's basically a dungeon crawler anime before that became a whole subgenre. Season 1 plays it surprisingly comedic, almost parody-like, with exaggerated RPG tropes and genre-savvy characters. Then Season 2, The Sword of Uruk, gets serious and dark in ways you don't expect. The tonal shift works because they built these characters so well. Jill's journey from naive climber to genuine hero feels earned, and Kaya remains one of anime's most interesting morally grey characters. The world feels lived in. This isn't some generic fantasy setting, but a society built around tower climbing as economy and culture. The politics, the various factions, the history woven through both seasons creates real depth. Why'd it flop in the West? Weird distribution, and honestly, that first season's comedy threw people off. Audiences expecting dark fantasy got silly RPG jokes, and by the time it matured, many had dropped it. But both seasons together tell a complete, satisfying story about heroism, sacrifice, and the cost of destiny. Hitting number 3, The Witch and the Beast. This is the newest entry on the list and already sliding into obscurity, which is tragic because it's fascinatingly weird. Godot is cursed and trapped in a young woman's body, travelling with the mysterious Ashaf to find a witch and break the curse. Every arc explores different witches and their twisted magic systems. The aesthetic is Tim Burton meets dark fantasy manga with grotesque designs and body horror that pushes boundaries. Each witch embodies different horror concepts. One controls theatre and performance, another manipulates origins and existence. The episodic structure lets it explore various horror subgenres while maintaining an overarching mystery. Godot is intentionally off-putting, violent, crude, and obsessed with revenge, but that rawness makes them compelling. Ashaf serves as the calm counterbalance, though his own secrets suggest he's equally dangerous. Their dynamic carries the show through its more experimental arcs. The animation can be inconsistent, and some episodes land better than others. The pacing drags occasionally, especially in middle arcs, but the ambition and willingness to get genuinely dark and weird deserves recognition. It feels like nobody watched it because it didn't fit neat genre boxes. Too horror for fantasy fans, too episodic for mystery fans, too strange for mainstream appeal. Rolling into number 2, Rage of Bahamut, Genesis. How did this slip through the cracks? Genesis is everything an adventure anime should be. Swashbuckling action, morally grey protagonists, apocalyptic stakes, an animation that goes absolutely stupid hard for no reason. It's based on a mobile card game and has zero right being this good. Favaro is an incredible protagonist, a roguish bounty hunter who lies, cheats, and steals his way through every situation until consequences force him to actually care. Kaiser is his rival turned reluctant ally, giving us one of anime's best bromances. Then Amira shows up seeking her mother, and everything spirals into divine warfare between angels and demons. The production values are insane. Every fight scene looks theatrical, the character animation is expressive and fluid, and the soundtrack slaps. It doesn't take itself too seriously, there's humour, there's heart, there's a zombie grandpa who's somehow plot relevant, but when it needs to go hard on emotion or action, it delivers. Virgin Soul, the sequel, is also solid but couldn't quite recapture the magic. Still, Genesis stands as a complete adventure that proves licensed anime can be genuinely great. It got overshadowed by bigger franchises despite being better than most. Absolute crime, it's not discussed more, and claiming number 1, Seirei no Moribito, Moribito Guardian of the Spirit. This is legitimately one of the best fantasy anime ever made, and somehow it's barely mentioned in modern discussions. Balsa is a spear-wielding bodyguard hired to protect young Prince Chagam, who's possessed by a water spirit that both his father wants dead and mysterious forces want to capture. What makes Moribito exceptional is its maturity. This isn't flashy magic battles or chosen one prophecy. It's grounded, political, and character-driven. Balsa is in her 30s, dealing with trauma from her own past while teaching Chagam to survive. Their relationship develops naturally, mentor and student growing to genuinely care for each other. The world building is meticulous, blending Japanese and Mongolian cultural influences into something that feels authentic. The spirit realm existing alongside the mundane creates 2 layers of conflict: political intrigue in the human world and ancient magic in the spirit realm. Both feel equally important. The spear fights are incredible. Production IG brought their A-game with choreography that looks realistic and brutal. No flashy special effects, just skilled combat animated with weight and consequence. When Balsa fights, you feel every strike. It's thoughtful, beautifully paced across 26 episodes and tells a complete story that respects its audience's intelligence. It's forgotten because it's quiet excellence in an industry that rewards spectacle. Absolute masterpiece. And that's the list. 10 fantasy anime that deserved way bigger audiences. From gritty survival to epic adventures, these shows prove amazing fantasy gets buried all the time. Which one are you checking out first? Drop your picks in the comments, and if you discovered something new today, hit that like button and subscribe for more underrated anime deep dives.